Good evening, waifus and husbandos, and welcome back, after some time, to another episode of the Waifu Cast. I am your host, Orifice, and with me, as always, is your other host, Ryusuke.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Long time no see.
With us is our once guest turned new co-host, Chape Diesel.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing fine this day.
Not with us is our other host, Lunakage. Now, the reason for the format change, and the reason why Chape Diesel's been brought on board, is that we were not overall really pleased with the level of content we were putting out. We kind of felt like we had stagnated. So we decided that we wanted to kind of take a look back, step back from producing and putting out so much stuff, and see what we could do to make improvements. We opted to overall put out less content for you guys, but what we feel is that content that we do put out is going to be superior and overall more valuable to you as the viewer than what we were doing prior. So with that being said, we're going to talk about TGS today and how lame it was, and probably end up talking majorly about Monster Hunter World. So with that said, I'm going to let Ryusuke take the mic, talk about how he felt let down.
So I was at work and I looked on 4chan and everybody's all like, "Oh, what went wrong?" And I'm like, "Fuck." So the one thing you never want to see on 4chan is what went wrong. And
Without context?
Sometimes it's
like,
ironic.
were you honest? But like, I don't know how 4chan works. Can you explain it for me?
So there's, the site 4chan, and
Okay.
then there are different boards, and within those boards there are threads.
Okay.
So
So,
whenever-
so it does work like Reddit in that sense. The boards are like
Yeah.
the subreddits.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is there an easy way to find boards you want?
It's all...
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I wanted to find, like, for instance, a board that's got threads exclusively about the Nintendo Switch.
You just go to V. It's more streamlined than Reddit.
Okay.
It doesn't get that specific.
So it's
There's-
more general.
It kind of gets that specific because there's also VG, which is the video
Oh
game
yeah,
generals.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
And they always have, they have a Nintendo general where there's constantly people talking about just regular Nintendo stuff.
Will they be talking about the
Switch
directs and stuff though?
Yeah, there's
Oh,
usually
okay,
one
okay.
for the direct there.
Yeah.
But usually, the major talking just happens right on the
They're
front
on V.
page. Like, it'll get sticky. Like, the main thread will get sticky to then just
Yeah, only
Okay.
okay. Nintendo.
people will
Okay,
just
that
be
makes
posting in that.
But yeah. So like,
So where did you see this?
I was on V.
Okay.
So like, cause when I'm at work and I can't watch a conference, I just kind of watch everyone's reactions on V.
Okay.
And all I see is like what went wrong,
Yeah.
and then like I look
It's always
in there,
a bad sign.
which it's a bad sign. Sometimes it can be ironic, but this time it wasn't ironic.
Yeah.
I got off work, watched that shit. It had me about to fall asleep. Nothing.
To be honest with you, man, I've only caught the headlines because, like,
You
even
didn't
the
miss
headlines, and that's my point, even the headlines weren't
did
that
not
interesting.
miss anything. TGS was on the Sony. I mean, I guess all there really is there is Sony and like other third parties, but the main thing is usually Sony, and it was just uneventful. We got some release dates and stuff, but I didn't see anything worth anything.
They brought out that Code Vein gameplay, and, like, honestly, I was expecting so much more out of that game because it literally, very literally, is just Dark Souls 3 with anime, like, shaders.
Yeah.
It's like an effortless rehashing of that. And it's just like, and it's made by the God Eater team. And it's like, that irritates
Don't
me.
look at me like that.
I'm looking at you like that because it's like, their first series of games is the same exact concept, but for Monster Hunter. And now they're doing it to another series. It's like, and they're going to charge full price for this shit.
For Covain?
Yeah, they charged full price for fucking God Eater too, didn't they?
I like God Eater.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, but it's
I
not
don't-
better than Monster Hunter objectively.
No, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying I like it.
Alright.
We did this already. I mean,
Yeah, this happened last time.
no one knows that,
Yeah.
but we did this.
Yeah, we recorded a podcast for you guys last week.
Where I got jumped.
Yeah, well, because you were wrong. Well, to be honest with you, we'll probably get there because Monster Hunter World is going to be probably the primary thing we're going to end up talking about.
I do
today.
want to touch on the disappointment that was the 13th Sentinel gameplay.
Jesus.
I
still, like I said, I watched the video and I don't even understand what I saw.
This is what I saw. I saw a bunch of niggas walking. I saw conversations being had about who knows what. And when they went to actually show what the gameplay might have, maybe could have been, they showed it for like 0.25 seconds and then cut it off. And what I saw looked like some type of like
Puzzle
RTS
game
shit.
shit?
It was like some RTS type thing.
I'm just like,
And you know, when I think Vanillaware and like their games like this, like I think to like, you know, Muramasa or
they have a
Dragon's
pedigree
Crown.
attached to their
Yeah, or
development.
Odin Sphere, where it's just really engaging shit, and this just didn't look like that.
No, it honestly, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the art holds up to their pedigree.
Yeah.
Because, like, whoever does their art is just on next level shit. Their sprites are just crazy. But that's it. That's all the game has going for it. And, like, I don't know. I feel like even if it was a visual novel, it would be better than what I saw.
I
that
hope
point.
that's only one aspect. I hope there's more to it than they're just holding out. But it's like at this point, we've been... How long have they been talking about this? For about a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, and we
maybe?
haven't seen shit.
Yeah, I feel like they could have showed more than that at this point.
I don't know. And
Because at this point, I went from being super excited to like, I don't even want it.
well, and it just makes me think that they wanted to do a mech game, but didn't have any idea how to do it on a 2D plane.
Yeah.
And that's like,
And that's where the whole like asteroids looking
I
bullshit
kind of
came
like
in.
got the impression that you were going to do your exploration and stuff in this 2D like cityscape, and then when you got into your mech or whatever, the like art would pan out, and then like in the background your robot would be doing its battling
that
on
would've
a
been
separate
sick.
2D plane, and that's what it looked like from the first trailer.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, that would have been sick. But
I mean, and you know, it could still be that, you know,
knows?
maybe. But from what I saw, my hype's killed.
yeah, honestly, I can't even really think of anything other to even talk about. They showed Shadow of the Colossus again, which, I mean, obviously that's going to be great.
Hold on. One thing did pique my interest. Fucking Hidden Agenda.
What is that? I don't know if I saw that.
It looked like some thriller like type game, but like I don't even know how to really describe it. It was like some psychological thriller type shit.
Okay.
And it was a Japanese game. It looked kind of like the same like style and vein as like Yakuza in a way, but not quite. Like I don't know who it's made by. I forgot, but it was probably the only interesting new thing I saw.
Now, I there's a game that Square's got in the pipeline. I think it's called Left Alive.
See, I haven't. And look, I thought, dude, like they made it like Metal Gears and shit.
Well, it's got the
It's
same
really fun.
artist that did Metal Gear's art, and it's actually set in the Front Mission universe.
Oh, okay. Wait, what's Front Mission? I've never played it.
It's a tactical RPG, but it's a mech tactical RPG.
Okay.
Like you're a pilot, and you level up your pilot and whatnot, and the pilot.
What's the name?
Front Mission.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, and it's,
Okay.
I don't know. We don't know much about what the game actually is, but it's got the artist who did the art for Metal
Okay, yeah,
Gear.
I saw that, and all I could think of was Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah, I that's going to definitely be something that I think is divisive for that game, because people are going to look at it and think that they're getting a Metal Gear game,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be a Metal Gear game.
Right.
But I'm interested just on the it being a Front Mission game and that kind of art direction. It could be cool. It could.
Yeah. After like, I mean, I was definitely disappointed by like FF15, but like after getting some time in with like Octopath Traveler, I'm a little more open to like Square doing shit again.
Yeah, we actually haven't gotten a chance to talk about Octopath
Did you
Traveler.
beat the demo? I know you're playing it like crazy.
Yeah, I beat the shit out of that demo.
That game is one of the most promising Switch games on the horizon.
I need that shit. I couldn't stop playing it. Like I was in fucking denial that I was done with the demo. I kept trying to find new shit.
Well, I can't believe that you played
And I
only
couldn't.
one character and got 6 hours out of
6
it. That's
hours.
an extensive fucking demo. I feel like that's kind of what it was, though, because they wanted people to do survey on the game, so they needed to include enough to, like, actually survey the game.
Yeah.
You can't play an hour and get an
See, the thing is like
what
once
you're getting yourself into.
you do what I did, you kind of just be going back just for the dude's story because you do pick up that other character just with no context.
Right.
You beat I beat Primrose's story. It let me keep going. I went to the other dude's village where he's supposed to start. Just picked him up. Like, it just walked up to him. He was in my party.
Okay.
And then I went and did all of the after story stuff. Like, there was like some cave with high level stuff in there.
Okay.
Cleared the cave, and I'd imagine it's just the other way around. You're just starting as him, and then you pick Primrose up and do the same shit.
Yeah, well, I feel like they were trying to emphasize that the different characters have different, like, unique abilities that they can use in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she can entice any NPC to follow her. and he can fight any NPC.
I was out there challenging niggas to duels like it was fucking glove slapping The Simpsons, dog.
That's funny. Bravely Default was a great game. Bravely Second wasn't, but Default was. And since that's the team that's behind this, I'm highly confident that they're going to achieve what they're setting out to achieve.
I like what they do.
I like that they're doing it exclusively for the Switch. I like that Nintendo... I know they're not getting a lot of exclusive support outside of themselves, but I do like that we're starting to see third parties at least show some vote of confidence. Like we got the news... I don't know if it was out of TGS or not, because it's fairly recent. We're recording this on September 21st, so... Square is working with Epic to use Unreal to bring Final Fantasy 15, the proper version to the Switch, and it's possible. It could be done. I mean, Doom. It's obviously not like high specs or high performance Doom, but it is Doom in all its complete form, and it runs
Same
runs
with,
well.
The new Wolfenstein coming.
And the beauty of the Switch too is that, even though these games are making compromises in the resolution area and such, the screen being so small and densely, like with a high pixel per inch, it compensates for that lower textures and stuff, because you still get a higher degree of detail because of the higher pixel per inch.
Yeah, even like with Breath of the Wild, I always felt like it looked better when I played it handheld.
Oh, for sure. I obviously it's not got the technical flourish and a lot of the like actual technical achievements in the design sense, but still one of the best looking games to come out in a long time, and it's done so through smart shit.
Yeah,
and I mean that's something to look forward to. The third party support for the Switch, anyways. Now, Monster Hunter World got its release date announcement, and the fact that it's going to be a international release for the first time. And that's coming out January 26th worldwide for PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, it's like a week after my birthday.
That shit's going to be so lit. So I want to spend some time talking about Monster Hunter in general, kind of the history of the series, talk about how it's changed, because it's kind of a big deal.
Guess I'm going to just be hitting the old dusty truck.
So Monster Hunter has had a really, like, interesting rise to fame, if you will, because it's like... It's always kind of had, well, not even kind of, it's always had a larger and much more dedicated fan base in Japan than here.
Definitely.
But we ignored it altogether for a long time. The first iteration of Monster Hunter came out on the PS2, and if you look at that game now and you compare it to, say, like Monster Hunter Generations, the most recent one in the US, it's night and day between the game. If I remember correctly, the combat was done via the right thumbstick in the original. There wasn't buttons for attacking. So, like that, and I mean, imagine that. You already, like, the only camera control you had was the snap to behind you camera control.
It'd be so clunky to play.
Yeah, you don't have any of the lock-on ability that you have in the new ones. None of it. And we didn't even see the proper sequel. It got a sequel on the PS2, but it never came here. And then
Really?
They did Monster Hunter Freedom, or I think it's Monster Hunter Portable First or something like that in Japan, but Monster Hunter Freedom over here on the PSP, which was basically the first game, but with a control scheme that was mapped to the face buttons, and it's because the PSP didn't have a second analog stick.
Right.
And it caught on in a huge way at that point. People got really, really into Monster Hunter. And
I want to say I pirated that shit, but I don't think I touched it.
I played the original, but I really didn't get into the series until there was a degree of camera control I could have. Because I feel like that game just necessitates a second analog stick, especially because your moves are committed. Like, you can't interrupt your attack animations in these games. They're very much... I don't want to say that they're like fighting games, but they're extremely execution heavy, and you have to know when you're doing an attack that you're committing to it, and that if you miss, you're vulnerable. And
so not more so like with heavier weapons.
And not being able to have precise control over which way I'm looking and everything like that it's just not acceptable.
I see.
So, Monster Hunter. Obviously, there was many iterations on the PSP. I think there was 3 main core games, and then Monster Hunter 3 proper got released on the Wii, and it was by and large the same concept as the PSP games, and the combat was mapped to buttons again. but it expanded on the features that you could swim. There was more you as a player could do. There was new weapon types, things like that. I didn't get too much into that until it came out on the 3DS and the Wii U. But
okay, see, that's I own 3 on the 3DS. I just never played.
I didn't like the swimming mechanics in 3. I really felt like
yeah, they're weird.
Doing
those fights was so weird
well,
too, under the water.
And you had to do it to progress,
Mm-hmm.
and they were super unintuitive in the way it controlled. So.
Was it like one of them joints where like you needed like the circle pad in order to even play it like properly?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And so Monster Hunter 4 took that swimming mechanic completely out, which is great, and it added a level of verticality to the games because you could climb freely now, and you could mount monsters for the first time, and it was the best and most fluid.
It's a lot more funner to like jumping off these cliffs, landing on these dragons, and messing their day up.
Even though the game is still stiff in that you have to commit to your attacks and whatnot, I felt like you had the most like maneuverability and the most like ability as a player. Like your tool set was the most defined it had ever been, and it worked so well within the context of that game. And then Generations came out, and Generations was essentially Monster Hunter 4, but it had,
what was Generations for?
3DS. It was Generations is kind of like a greatest hits. It took levels and monsters
I don't remember that shit.
Because you don't.
I mean, I know I don't play the game, but like I knew when 4 came out, but I just don't remember Generations.
Because it's like.
Okay.
Because it's more like I'll get to that really. Because like 4 was the most plot heavy in the series up to that point.
Okay.
Like, it had a pretty strong narrative to it. I mean, not strong, but a hefty narrative to it. Like,
yeah.
Generations was the complete opposite. It took all of the narrative out of the game, and it was just down to the gameplay of Monster Hunter. And it added in styles for the different weapons, so each different weapon could be used in one of 4 different styles, and they all played.
Like some Bloodborne shit?
It was interesting because it was like you had a style that allowed you to jump and like be aerial. You had a heavier style. You had a like an acrobatic style, I think, and like a combo-driven style.
Okay.
And then they had I think they were called arts or something like that, where they were like special, heavy, powerful attacks you could execute now. So they trimmed all the fat out of the. They trimmed all the fat out of the campaign, what you were doing, and added all this extra depth to the combat and whatnot. And I felt like it was pure Monster Hunter in its best form. Mm-hmm. And so we got Monster Hunter World coming now, and then we got Monster Hunter Double Cross on the Switch. Double Cross is the sequel to Generations. It's basically the same concept, but with more content.
Okay.
I think there's two new arts, or two new styles, so 6
I thought
total.
Double Cross was like an older game or some shit.
No, it's like the director's cut. It's like the ultimate version of Generations. Because Generations was called Cross in Japan.
Why the fuck wouldn't they bring that here?
Because I
thought
feel
it
like
was an old game, but now that I know it's new,
well, look at
the
look at Monster Hunter's release history. It went Sony, and then they hit Nintendo, and they achieved so much more success with Nintendo than they ever had before because of the 3DS's install base. And now they're pivoting to Sony again because they want to rely, well, not Sony, but the consoles, because they know they have an audience. The 3DS audience has been bitching for another console Monster Hunter for a long time.
That's true.
Yes,
and they know that people want to play it on a controller, and they have the audience now. Monster Hunter is a franchise that people take seriously now.
That's
it's
true.
not ignored anymore.
That's
and it's
true.
not just like that in Japan anymore either. Like I said, I think the fan base in Japan's more dedicated, but it puts better numbers up here because we have more people
But
here.
what is that going to do to the numbers in Japan, though?
What do you mean?
They're not going to want... The reason why it blew up the way it did in Japan is because it was portable.
People, I don't really think. I think the reason they're doing an international release is because they're counting on the rest of the world to make them the most of their money. You have to consider that.
Yeah, I guess so. I just feel like you're
they
alienating a
definitely love
huge chunk of like
They're
the
not
people.
though.
Well, I mean, I know they're not, because I mean everyone has access to a PS4 there, but it's just they don't play them like that. You know what I mean?
But they will for Monster Hunter is the assumption.
Okay.
because, like I said, the fan base of Monster Hunter is dedicated, and they're not like Monster Hunter fans do not equal Nintendo fanboys. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
There's
yeah,
a lot of people that own a 3DS simply because that's where Monster Hunter was.
Right.
And you're gonna get Monster Hunter World doesn't take anything out of the game. Nothing that's been in before is gone. I mean, I guess that maybe arts and styles might not be, and I don't know, but
I'd imagine they keep
everything you could do in a Monster Hunter game before you could do in Monster Hunter World, plus so much more. So they're not like catering the game to Western air quotes sensibilities and making it easier or more accessible, but they are making it more accessible in the sense that they're opening up the platforms it's on.
Right.
There's a bigger install base for the PS4 and the Xbox One than there is for the Switch.
Okay.
That's a huge driving force.
I guess they are kind of remedying it by putting Double Cross out in Japan.
Well, you can't. Well, it's also on the Switch or the 3DS in Japan, so Double Cross is, and it's got crossplay between the Switch and the 3DS. So you know what I mean. So the Switch version's not the one that's making them money there, and that's why they're not bringing it here. I think.
I see.
But the PS4 one will make them money. People will pivot to it because it's a next-gen Monster Hunter. It's beautiful. It's got an open world setting now. Like, all that shit matters. Okay. It does.
I mean, I guess so, because it's got me interested, and I've never really been able to...
Well, it's because it's not fucking... You don't got to sit in the same fucking room or have all these friend codes involved to play with your boys.
That's
you just got to hop on a PlayStation party and fucking play. That's a huge fucking deal.
That's true.
Like, I mean, I know there's Wi-Fi play in Monster Hunter, but, like, there was so much setup and pre-shit.
Lobbies.
You had to do so much shit to do it. Whereas, like, you can get in a party with your friends, and maybe actually getting into the game will be difficult, but at least communicating. Like, you couldn't do voice chat in Monster Hunter, for instance.
Yeah.
You had to use Discord or something else. And, again, that's, like, a lot of extra shit you need to do something you're going to be able to do rather simply now. Mm-hmm. And, again, in a game where the multiplayer hunting aspect of it is a huge draw, that matters. Makes a big deal. I think that shit's going to... I think it's going to do big numbers for Capcom.
Yeah, I think it will. I'm excited for it. Like, it looks really fucking good.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting something, like, action-based to, like, play with my boys.
Well, I've been playing a lot of Destiny, too, which after we're done talking about Monster Hunter, I'm going to take a second to talk about. But it's the same kind of feeling. Yeah. I played Overwatch for a long time, and that's, it's always player versus player. And that gets tiresome, especially when people can't handle losing, especially when it's like you lose.
It takes the edge off when
your
you're
teammates
doing,
are assholes. Yeah, well, because it's just cooperative, and it's like you can outsmart the AI and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like a lot of the time we're playing Destiny as like the passive activity, and we're carrying on conversation in our PlayStation chat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Destiny's just what we're doing, and I love that. And I think Monster Hunter is going to be great for that. And I think that the ability to have 4 people playing and actually coordinate your strategy over fucking PlayStation chat is going to be a godsend.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Never had that. I've only ever had one other person in the room with me play. With that being said, TGS was fucking lame.
As fuck.
And I'm going to talk about Destiny 2 now because I finally completed the raid. I'm power level 299. I've seen pretty much everything the game's got to offer at this point. And... I don't have a frame of reference from the original Destiny because I didn't play it, so you have to understand that my thoughts don't take into consideration anything about the first game. So if I'm not going to compare it to the first game because I can't. So, if you disagree with me or if you think that something was better in the first game...
I'll chime in.
Feel free to comment, chime in. That's perfectly okay because, like I said, I didn't play it and I don't presume to know anything about it. But for Destiny 2... It was the first time in a long time I played a not single player, but I did basically do the campaign almost all by myself.
Okay.
And it was the first time I played a shooter with a campaign in years. Just flat out, I haven't done it in a long time. The last campaign I went through for a first-person shooter was Modern Warfare 2.
I think what was the last one? I think it was Modern Warfare 3, and I didn't even finish it.
I didn't even beat the campaign. Did you have to beat the campaign in Modern Warfare 3 to get the Spec Ops mode, their version of zombies? Because if you did, then I beat the campaign. But otherwise, that's all I did in that game was play
probably. I didn't have Spec Ops mode.
I literally played the dog shit out of that. I think I don't know. Either way, that's completely off topic. It wasn't, groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't a Call of Duty campaign where it's just fucking adrenaline rush set piece after adrenaline rush set piece over and over again for 5 hours. It took some skill to get through because obviously I was leveling up throughout, so enemies were stronger.
Yeah.
So I had to be smart about taking cover and not being too aggressive. I had to pick my shots because ammo's not limited, but it is limited.
Do they still do the shit where you go into a room and you gotta deploy your ghost? And you got to fight off a horde of enemies while you're waiting for your ghost to do something.
In the strikes, there's a couple of points in that. But, honestly, I did, yes, there are a couple of points in the game where you have to do that, but it's not ever for an extended period of time. That was really bad in
the first game.
Yeah, no, there are definitely some, horde mode, kill off wave after wave of enemies.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen often.
Okay.
So, Crucible so far has been kind of fun. Trials of the 9 started last weekend, and I wasn't geared for it then, so I didn't have a good time at all.
What's Trials of the 9?
Trials of the 9 is the super competitive PvP. It's where you compete for PvP gear.
So, you put gear, up?
No, you earn Trials of the 9 tokens, and you go to a special... it's like Trials of Osiris in the original Destiny, if you ever saw that, where if you can go flawless, where if you win 7 matches in a row, you get special gear and shit.
Okay.
But the gear that you can get from Trials of the 9 is, it's more heavily geared towards PvP. It increases, your resilience and stuff, so you can take more damage before dying. The guns give you perks like reloading some ammo if you slide.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
That's tight.
So I did some of that, but like I said, I didn't have a good time because I didn't have the right gear for it. The Mida multi-tool is the gun for it. It's the best scout rifle in the game for PvP because its perk is that it allows you to keep your radar up while you're aiming down the sights.
Okay.
So if you're trying to pop somebody off and somebody's trying to flank you, you can see them coming on your radar. I completed the raid this week, just a couple days ago. Sounds what?
Kind of OP.
It isn't it? It's not the strongest scout rifle in the game.
Yeah.
But it's got a nice... It's not OP. It's not. It's balanced.
All right.
But it's a super... that's useful in PvP, and that's why it's so heavily used.
Okay.
The raid was really good. The raid was, heavily puzzle-oriented.
How long did it take you to do?
It took me 4 separate attempts. The first attempt took me 4.5 hours, and I got not even halfway through.
Jeez.
The second attempt took 4.5 hours, and I got exactly halfway through. The third attempt, we got one part past the second attempt, and that took 3 hours. And the fourth time was the time we beat it, and it took about 4 hours, and it was actually really smooth. It was the final boss that took us the most time.
I don't know if I could do that shit, man.
Do you have to do a lot of research ahead of time to know?
The first time I did it, the very first time, was literally the moment the raid went live. Okay. So there was no resources to even look at. So that's why it took 4.5 hours to not even get halfway, because we didn't you have to figure out everything yourself. There is no explanation on the puzzles in the raid, and so you have to figure out the mechanics. And most of it was trial and error, trying to figure out what the fuck we were supposed to do. And after the first time and the second time, because those were both on the first day, I took a break in between. I had watched videos, and then it was just about getting people because you need 6 people to do the raid.
Now, do they make you still have to have 6 people or can you queue up with people?
You you have to have them join your fire team.
Okay.
From your friends list.
Okay, so it's still like that.
Yeah. They have what are called guided games betas though, where you can get tokens and you can do what you're talking about. Where if you can matchmake with people who are looking to do it, who otherwise wouldn't be able to do it because they don't have the friends or whatever, and it'll matchmake you with people. But that hasn't launched for the raid. Be that as it may,
there are sites though where you can forums and shit where you can go and
Yeah, the third time we did it because there are checkpoints in the raid, but if you don't complete it within the week between the weekly reset, it resets your checkpoint, so you have to start all over.
Okay.
So the third time we went in, we got to start from the checkpoint of the second time. So we got one part past where we were, and people quit, so we weren't able to get farther. And then the reset happened, and then Tuesday, which was the day the reset happened, we decided we were going to do it, and we went through it all the way that night. And that was when I hit 299. I got some great gear out of it. I have pretty much every exotic I want to have.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm ready for trials. Iron Banner is coming out in October. Iron Banner is PvP where your power level matters. So, your gear actually matters.
Iron Banner was fun in the first one. I liked it.
I'm to the point, though, and this is not a knock on the game, because I probably put close to 100 hours into it at this point. I'm getting to the point where I'm definitely going to be taking a break soon.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way that Destiny, this is how it's designed. Because, I'm going to come back every week for the weekly reset to grind out my milestones, because I get a guaranteed drop of stronger gear every time I get a milestone completed. And then I don't have to play again until they either release new content or the next weekly milestones come. And those milestones only take 2 hours to grind out.
Like the nightlies and all that shit too?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And so it's now I'm glad I got to the point where I am, because I'm to a point where I literally can comfortably just stop playing for days on end, come back, and I know that I'm to a point where everybody in my clan where I will always be the strongest person in the clan, because they're all to a point where they can't progress any farther without these what are called luminous engrams. That's what you get for completing your milestones. Basically, all your legendary and exotic engrams are going to drop somewhat lower than what your current power level is after a certain threshold.
Okay.
The luminous engrams that you get from the milestones are guaranteed to drop 5 or so above what your current power level is, so you can always get an improvement.
Okay.
Everybody's at that point, though. They can't get legendaries that drop higher than the stuff that they already have equipped, so they have to grind out the luminous engram. So I don't have to.
So it's like I don't think that was in the first game.
Well, I don't have to dedicate hours and hours every day now to make sure that I'm keeping up with everybody gear wise, because all I have to do is that one little bit, and that's nice. But it's been a great experience. I don't know what it's gonna be like in the future, because I don't know what this next set of DLC is gonna be.
50 different fucking currencies like they had in the first one.
They don't. Xur, for instance, uses the same currency that you use to infuse your legendary weapons and shit.
Okay.
So you get it just from dismantling legendaries and stuff. You don't have to earn special tokens and stuff.
Okay.
That seems like it's definitely simplified. One of my biggest gripes, though, is mod drops. They're super stingy with legendary mod drops, and they're hard to get outside of getting them from what are called bright engrams. I don't know if you've ever played Diablo 3, but once you hit max level, you have what are called paragon levels.
Mm-hmm.
So you can keep leveling up.
Like prestiging?
No, it's just you just keep you can get paragon level 1000 and shit.
Oh, okay.
You just continue leveling up after the end of the game, and that's what bright levels are. But it doesn't give you a stat advantage. It just gives you a bright engram.
Okay.
And that's really the only way to get mods most of the time. And they take a long time to get bright engrams, and it's super stingy about mod drops. So it's mods could help me out a lot, but I don't have access to them, so I can't do anything with them.
Right.
And that's kind of frustrating. Aside from that, though, it's been a fun game. I'm hoping that the content that they come out with in the future is interesting, or at least as interesting as the stuff that was at launch.
Okay.
With that being said, we're going to go away for a while. But before we go, make sure to like us at facebook.com/waifukast or twitter.com@waifukast,
mm-hmm.
or at Instagram @waifukast,
mm-hmm.
or on our YouTube page @waifukast. And if you're listening to this as an audio-only version, we are available at iTunes. We are available on Google Play. We are also on SoundCloud, if that's your preference.
Yeah.
Like us anywhere. Give us a follow. Let us know. Give us some feedback. We are, like I said in the beginning, not going to be hitting you with so much content, but look forward to some more informative things coming in the future, some more structured things, and hopefully a overall better level of quality in general. So, we're going to go away, but don't forget your waifu.
Never forget your waifu.